Hello, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I just woke up. I'm tired. What can I say? Every time I'm on this channel of conversation, I always look like garbage. Is it a surprise? No. Today we're going to talk about how TikTok destroys restaurants. Now, this is not always the case, but as a server who's been exposed to restaurants for a long time, I have to say your advertising matters. And the number one thing you want to choose is depending on certain clientele that you want to attract to the establishment, depending on the price points of your establishment, what you're trying to market to. Certain forms of advertising online can be incredibly useful. Social media is so prevalent right now that you basically need to advertise your businesses through some form of social media site. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. But today we're going to be primarily talking about TikTok. Now, we all know that TikTok involves predominantly a younger crowd. It's mostly, children, teenagers. There are adults on there, of course, but it's more the younger generations that tend to hang out on TikTok. Now, when you're operating an establishment and trying to attract rich clientele, you're trying to get people to go to the restaurant I'm at now and have them order really expensive drinks and, A3 Wagyu or whatever the case is, A5 Wagyu, fillets, all kinds of stuff, then you kind of run into an issue where you're going to attract certain people who are young, dumb, feel that there's no consequence, try and, get alcohol when they're underage, try and, run the bill. I've had a lot of instances where a lot of people on TikTok see the place that I'm working at, or whatever the case is, or other websites. It's not just TikTok. A lot of restaurants advertise through all kinds of social media means. But, some little dummies online, foolish children, whatever, young people see it, they want it, they go get it, and then they can't pay for it. And, it's because it's very easy to rack a bill, and a lot of people will bring cash. Maybe the restaurant doesn't accept cash. A lot of people will bring a group of people thinking that they can use all of these cards when maybe the restaurant's only going to accept X amount of cards. Sometimes they'll run over their bill. Last night was a disaster. At my restaurant, I was told, hey, we're going to have a lot going on. It's going to be super busy, and it was. And I had some good tables, but I also had a lot of really bad tables all night. Young people, just, random people that were not from the area or hadn't dined out a lot, so the result was bad under tipping. So my net for the night was probably a total of 10% tips, because some people tipped 20%, some people were tipping like 2 to 5%, and then some people were tipping like 10 to 15%. And I'm not kidding. This happens all the time in restaurants. You're going to have waves of people because a bunch of young 21-year-olds see it on the internet. They want to drink it. They want to do it. They want to experience it, but they don't go out enough to know how tipping culture works or how tipping at restaurants works. They also don't know how to perform appropriate etiquette at certain establishments, because certain places, depending on the vibe, depending on the time of the day, whatever the case may be, some places have a more reserved way of operating, and they, although they're accepting of, any kind of age or whatever, any kind of boisterousness, they have a certain clientele that get uncomfortable when all of a sudden there's like a wave of young kids that are just making a giant disaster of an entire establishment. There were multiple times where we've had groups, massive groups of people, a lot of them underaged or a lot of them already intoxicated, coming into the restaurant, and it becomes a very gray area and or a very bad area. You're not supposed to serve people who are intoxicated alcohol. It's a big rule. That is a huge way that your restaurant can get shut down, that you can have your licensing for serving alcohol revoked. Servers can get dinged by TABC, which basically is alcohol regulation in restaurants and whatnot. You have to be tested, certified, and you have to recertify every couple of years, at least in Texas. Certain other places, you don't need to be certified. You'll be trained on the job. Just completely depends. But yeah, this is why you have to ID your clientele. And I'm saying this because TikTok will bring really young kids to restaurants that serve alcohol, and then they're using fake IDs, And then if somebody gets tipped off by TABC and they check the actual IDs of these people, or they realize the IDs are fake and that the people are underage and they're drinking alcohol on site, you can get into a lot of trouble. So in general, I would say TikTok, I hate TikTok. Predominantly because it ruins restaurants, and I've seen actually quite a few restaurants ruined just due to bad advertising to people that they want to get as much volume as possible, but the volume that they're attracting, it's a lot of children, reckless, dumb, a lot of young people, reckless, dumb. They do damage to the property more. Like, trust me, you know what? There are some restaurants where, god dang, I've had parties that have thrown up underneath the tables. I had an auto grat party once. Actually, here's a great example. I had this auto gratuity party once. It was supposed to be 8 people. Their bill was supposed to be $1,350, and I would receive 20% auto gratuity on that table. It's on a contract with a card, and you have to pay that minimum no matter what, along with a percentage of gratuity. So I get this party, and they're really nice. Like, they're not bad people at all. They're super nice, and they just don't know how to rack the bill. And I think there was a massive miscommunication between all of these friends, because they were thinking like, oh, we pay for our own meals. We have to pay only a set amount for our meals. No, you pay with one card and you pay a gratuity as well along with that card. So this table needed to pay about $1,500 something dollars or $1,600 in total with one card. The card they put down was a debit card, and whoever took that card, you're not supposed to take debit cards usually. You're supposed to take a credit card or something like that, I think. But basically, the girl is a birthday girl, and only like half of her friends show up. So there's only like 5 people there. And I'm still there doing the party. I'm still doing their gratuity. I'm operating as normal. I'm just like, hey, you guys have to pay this minimum no matter what. Let's party. Their IDs were all appropriate. Everything was good. Like, they were adults and everything. I don't know what they saw, like where it was advertised for them, whatever the case may be. You know, I'm being kind of subjective. They could have just had a friend recommend the place to them. You never know. The birthday girl, bless her soul. She was the one on the contract, and you know, as we're going through the night, she I don't know if they were on something or something like that, like they were high or something, because I didn't serve them a lot of drinks. I served like maybe 2 rounds in total of very short pour, by the way, because our bartender was kind of pissed off, like reposado drinks of some form. I don't remember what they were. It was like just margaritas or something. By the time the end of the night is hitting, she's crying. She's, you know, she passed out, I thought, for a while, because she was lying underneath the table. I later found out she just vomited a bunch of food underneath the table, which me and my manager had to clean up, because at the time my manager wasn't really a manager. He was kind of like a key holder. And they can't pay. That's the worst part about it, is they can't pay. I don't know what the communication was, but the debit card that was put down was not the one that was acceptable. Like, the money wouldn't go through. So we're there until like almost 1 a.m. or midnight, and we're about to call the cops. And I'm like, I'm going home. It's 12:30. I don't even know if I'm gonna get paid at this point, this auto gratuity, because I don't even know if these people are gonna pay for it. So, you know, there are a couple friends that stay, there are some that go, the birthday girl goes, and here's the thing, this is a crime, you know, because you're not paying a restaurant, you're like running a bill, basically, and you can't pay it, and it's a pretty high bill, so you're gonna be in trouble. So eventually when the cops show up, I hear that, and I left by this point, because I was like, I give up, I'm just gonna go to bed. I was like, I've cleaned up puke, I've not been paid, I've had the clientele angry at me now, because, you know, they're like freaking out about not being able to pay and all this stuff. And although I'm just the server, I'm the pawn, they started getting angry, and they were like freaking out at my manager. Not good. I just go home, it's 12:30 or something, and I leave. And the cops show up, and they have to then eventually they pay. And I'm like, great, whatever. Couple $100 buckaroonies, I guess, before tax and tip out for me. An endless amount of stress and puke cleanage. Now, they really were trying to hide from that minimum, so I racked the bill with shrimp. I'm not kidding. As one of the sides on our menu, you can, do additions, and I decided, hey, do you guys want seafood as an appetizer? So I decided, hey, let's do jumbo shrimp, we'll rack your bill that way, because they have to meet that minimum no matter what. So I was like, don't worry, guys, I'll meet that minimum for you. You guys can enjoy yourselves. So I rung in good drinks. I got good food going. I pumped that table and I did everything appropriately. Like that was the only thing I was supposed to do that night was appropriate my service and rack the bill to an appropriate sum. You're always supposed to hit your minimums. If you don't hit your minimums, it doesn't apply to the contract, and it's a big gray area. So you want to hit those minimums no matter what, and also you want to get paid, so you want the minimum or more. Now, what I did was I racked the bill, and I think I put like 42 shrimps on there. I'm not kidding. Like I just kept on getting them, like, and they kept on asking for more because they liked the first plate of shrimp that I brought out. So they just kept on going, and that was how Shrimpgate happened in accordance with my general manager. Like, he literally was like, this is Shrimpgate, oh my god, and it was, like, so funny. And I was like, well, you wanted me to meet that minimum, and we're gonna meet that minimum no matter what, even if it means me racking in sides, I don't care. So, we do meet the minimum, and they can't pay, and it's a big fiasco, and there's puke under the table, and at this point in time, I'm just like, whatever. And they hate me because now they realize, like, oh, we were on a contract, and I tell them everything the way it's supposed to be, but they were all thinking, oh, we only come and bring like 8 of us, $120. We don't have to tip. We don't have to do anything. Like, this is the kind of thing. It's like people need to be more informed of the places they go to beforehand. They need to know what's going to happen if they get into a contract. Now, I know I'm all over the place today, but it's because I'm a train wreck, so pardon that. Anyways, I think that you really need to be careful if you advertise to really young people, really dumb people, mainly young people, because there's just ignorance that comes through, a lack of experience in life. It's not a particular kind of person. It's just, if I was like 18 or something, I probably wouldn't have known how to tip. I probably wouldn't have known how to appropriate a contract with all of my young 18-year-old friends or 21-year-old friends, because these guys were not 18-year-olds. They were older. But you know the point I'm trying to make. It's just a disaster. So this is why I personally don't like the idea of like advertising on TikTok. I think it's a bad idea. I think you're going to get a lot of like young, dumb people who don't know how to tip in restaurants, who don't know how to appropriate themselves when it comes to coordinating themselves with your business, whether it's a business that you're advertising through TikTok exclusively, whether it's a merchandise business, I don't know. It could be anything. But number one thing is, God, if you're trying to have a really high and classy and cool clientele, then don't advertise through TikTok. It's mostly children. Like, I don't know what people are thinking now. If you're just advertising like a hot dog stand or something, or like, I don't know, a different business, it's not as crazy, a set item. But if you're advertising certain services and you've got a really young crowd of people that want those services, a lot of them like don't understand the ramifications of operating with those services. So I freaking hate it. Although it's a double-edged sword, because there's so much volume that goes through TikTok that it is an amazing platform to get views and have people see your advertisements. So it's a toss-up. It's completely up to your preference, but it isn't the best way to go in my personal opinion. It's great to get likes and views and have people look at you and see you for what you are, and that's a double-edged sword too, because it's the internet, your job, your livelihood. You can lose everything if you say the wrong thing online or do the wrong thing online or advertise inappropriately online. But you can also have amazing viewership. You can have a lot of likes, views, comments, whatever. You can be super popular, and you can make a lot of money, and you can sell a lot of products, or you can advertise your business, and it's amazing, and you love it. But I think it is variable. Like, you need to be careful depending on what you're selling, what you're doing, how you're appropriating yourself and your business on where you're advertising, because you need to know the clientele of all of these different places. Now, the one dangerous thing with restaurants is if you're serving alcohol and you advertise on TikTok, and you maybe have people who tend to neglect TABC or something like that, or, alcohol rules, and they're serving the underage, they're not carding them enough. We have a lot of people that come in underage and we turn them away. Like, you can tell what a fake ID is, and you can tell who's looking pretty young. But in general, even if they're like the age of 30 looking, you're still supposed to ID them. Again, you never know. But in general, the points I'm trying to make to you are that, if you're advertising anything with adult content to it on TikTok, which is mainly children, that's not a good idea. I personally don't think it's a good idea. I think that it creates more problems than solutions. And this is why, on a common basis, if I go in to see the bathrooms at work and I see the mini garbage cans that I'm supposed to clean out in the girls' bathroom, And those bathroom garbage cans are full of puke because somebody decided to have a really fun night out and then threw up in the garbage cans and then didn't tell anybody. I'm not cleaning it. And I have my limits. There are things I have my limits about. And this is the other thing that I have to rant about. There are certain people at my workplace that don't do anything. They don't do their side work. They just text on their phones. They just screw around, and they get way more tables. They get way more like priority sections. And I'm not trying to be egotistical because everything's variable. And sometimes you don't even want priority sections because it means you're going to be there longer. You're not going to get the kind of clientele you want anyways, like really rich, people who ball out, get really expensive food and drink. Sometimes you just get people who want to share pizza even if it's a table of like 6 people. You never know. But in general, it's like so annoying when you have somebody who's got like a bigger section than yours or better seating than yours, or in general, just like even doesn't like get chastised while you're doing all the side work and you and your other servers are doing all the side work, and then there are a couple people who don't do it and you're like, great, more side work for us. And last night I was pissed off because I was getting undertipped really badly, and I'm so sorry, this is a disjointed conversation, I'm all over the place today, but and like I tell my closer, and I also tell my closing manager, I'm like, I'm not doing more side work than I do at the end of the night to compensate for other people. And I'm going to point that out to both of you. I will do everything you want me to do as is appropriate. I will help you guys throughout the night because obviously my closing server is still operating the sections, still doing their tables. I'm like, if you need anything from me to help you with those tables while I'm doing all of this, completely fine. I also was closing at my tables, cleaning everything up. Sorry I had to stop the video, but I literally got a spam email just saying, I've recorded you pleasuring yourself. And I was like, I'm literally so incompetent at that. I literally laughed at the email. Let's read this email before we go any further, because I know it's a very viral email. I just found it all over Reddit as well. But I think it's very funny because it's funny. Hello there. Unfortunately, there is... Oh, sorry. I thought I was supposed to appropriate myself by reading this off like somebody who actually knows how to write. Hello there. Unfortunately, there are some bad news for you. Some time ago, your device was infected with my private Trojan RAT, Remote Administration Tool. If you want to find out more about it, simply use Google. My Trojan allowed me to access your files, accounts, and your camera. Check the sender of this email. I have sent it from your email account. To make sure you read this email, you will receive it multiple times. I truly enjoyed checking out corn websites and watching dirty videos while having a lot of kinky fun. I recorded you through your camera satisfying yourself. Fun fact, I don't watch that, especially on my laptop. It's basically, I don't mix business and pleasure, ladies and gentlemen. This is my business laptop with my camera, and trust me, if you want to record me through this, I'm pretty sure the quality is going to be suboptimal at best. Also, like, I don't think this is going to work out. Like, watching anything on this at this point is a donezo deal. After that, I removed my malware to not leave any traces, which you would never do if you're going to hack. You always want to have a little bit of an inkling in the pot, just so that you can, like, incriminate them even more. Like, if I were going to hack somebody, I wouldn't take the malware away without them being aware of it. That's ridiculous. All you need is $1,800 USD in Bitcoin BTC transferred to my account. If you still doubt my serious intentions, it only takes a couple mouse clicks to share the video of you with your friends, relatives, all email contacts, on social networks, the darknet, and to publish all your files. And ladies and gentlemen, we're in an era where like literally everybody's on OnlyFans. I mean, at this point, this is a useless email. Maybe like in 2011, this would have been bad, but right now, like, everybody's a slut, so honestly, I'm not really too worried about it. Like, this is just ridiculous. Also, it's such a viral email at this point, it's just stupid. I just hate the spam. It's starting to annoy me. And it's like, I'm signed up for all kinds of stuff, so it doesn't even matter. How many times did they send this to me? Oh my god. Oh my god, they sent me like 50 of these. It's the same one, too, and they sent it in, like, they sent it when I was in bed. They started sending this at, like, They started sending this at 12:57 a.m. I was still at work by then. Or simply Google other exchanger, and they send me all these links and shit. And then after that, send the Bitcoin directly to my wallet. Or install the free software, Atomic Wallet, or Exodus Wallet. Then receive and send mine. My Bitcoin BTC address is blah 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 blah. They got a bunch of numbers and baloney. I wonder if you could trace these things. I feel like you can. You can track people through Bitcoin. This is just a stupid email though. Yes, that's how the address looks like. Copy and paste my address. It's case sensitive. You're given not more than 3 days after you have opened this email. As I got access to this email account, I will know if this email has already been read. Everything will be carried out based on fairness and advice from me. Regularly change all your passwords to your accounts, blah, 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 blah. This is the thing. If you catch me jerking off in front of my computer, honestly, keep it. You trust me, nobody's gonna want to see it. If anything, people will laugh at it. You know what my, like, bedroom face is? Like, I haven't been with anybody yet like that, but I've been working on it. How about this? Because honestly, like, I'll just cross my eyes, stick my tongue out, and we'll go full, like, hentai at this point. Like, I do not care. This kind of stuff is the kind of thing, like, this kind of thing is just annoying. Why let people's propositions, control you when you have no self-control anyways? So anyways, I don't know, let's just continue with what I was saying. So, I hate doing other people's side work, blah, 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 blah. I do a lot of side work. But last night, me and 3 or 4 other people, we were doing great. We were working it. Next thing I know, all night, 2 other people not doing jack. So I point this out. I'm like, I'm not doing more side work because, these 2 people aren't doing the side work to uphold the quality standards. And I say it like flat out. So I'm telling my closer, and I'm going to call him Jay, I guess. My closer Jay, and my closing manager, who I'll call Captain. So yeah, Captain and Jay, I tell them both, I'm like, hey guys, I tell them in different sequences, hey, I'm not doing it. And I do my normal stuff. I did my side work throughout the shift. I did my appropriate amount of closing side work, did all my stuff. And next thing I know, these other people, they're like freaking out, oh, we can't leave at this time, appropriately, blah, blah. I was the first one to freaking leave. And that's because I was the first one in that building. I had to come in early to help out because we were opening up quick. We had reservations starting at like 4 o'clock, and we all came in at 3:30, and we were just trying to get the ball rolling on everything. But in general, like, that is my go-to now, because I don't get, like, they get priority, and then I literally get bamboozled, and I'm not gonna pay for their priority anymore. I'm putting my foot down. There are times where it's like, if I make good money, and I don't get undertipped, and I feel like I'm appropriated in the workspace, I don't care. I'll do everybody's side work if I make a band. Like, I've never made a band, but if I did, I legit, like, if I got paid the most out of everybody, I would do everything. It's probably why the quality standards of our restaurant have fallen so badly to the floor, along with a lack of appropriating ourselves on a managerial basis. But I still like it there. It's just, I'm just complaining. Anyways, that was the video. It was just me ranting. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you when I see you, my dudes. It has been lovely.